Hi there. I spent some time online today looking for a church group for my daughter. You can imagine that I was a little bit thorough. For each one found that seemed relevant, I quickly scanned their beliefs, their vision statement, maybe their staff, where they're from, what's their background, and listened to snippets of several of the pastor's sermons. Now, some might consider that what got my attention as unimportant, but I heard it over and over again. When I listened further into their sermons, it was reflected in a lot of what followed, and I was unhappily surprised, actually. Sure evidence that many speakers and pastors do not recognize the fulfillment and end of the first covenant, the former covenant, in favor of the beginning and the far better promises of the new covenant, is how often they say something before their messages like this: let's prepare our hearts for the Lord. Really? I thought that through the new birth, we had been given new hearts, hearts that God all by himself made from the original material of his own nature. He shared himself with us. How do you top that? There is nothing for me to prepare or to work upon, since not only did I have nothing to do with that work, but I could never do as good of a job as he did. Right? Isn't it fantastic to have that pressure removed? How cool is that? All I get to do is to recognize that God himself has prepared my heart. He's all done with it, and it was a perfect work. He is now convincing me to live from my heart, not to work upon it. He who has made me the house of God is the very happy inhabitant. He loves his surroundings and paid off the mortgage and everything forever. It follows, naturally, that one of my favorite things to read or to hear about, especially when listening to a sermon, is how good a work that was and how perfect my heart is, the very core of my being. God saw to it, and it cannot get any better than he made it through the new birth. To say then that there is a work for me to do where God has in fact already worked, and in an arena that Christ alone can touch, and I cannot possibly, my heart, is, well, it's anti-Christ. And it's terribly confusing and frustrating for everybody who hears it. What would I like to hear from these same speakers and pastors? Well, how about something like, let's turn our minds to the Spirit and explore the perfect work God has done to our hearts. I would be all ears, and my perfect heart would be beautifully wide open. And I bet yours would too. See you later.